My name is Margaret Salazar-Porzio. I'm a curator of Latinx history and culture and chair of the Division of Home and Community Life at the National Museum of American History. In 1944, Sylvia Mendez was just 8 years old when her and her family moved from Santa Ana, California to Westminster, California. It was during the Second World War. Once they settled into their new home, Sylvia's aunt tried to enroll her and her brothers and her cousins into the local school. It was called the 17th Street School. Sylvia remembers the school being this amazing school with manicured lawns and a playground and palm trees. They really wanted to go to that school. And when they got there, the staff member actually rejected Sylvia and her brothers, but allowed her cousins to enter. Her cousins were Mexican of French descent, and they had a French last name. They had lighter skin. Her mother, Felicitas, was from Puerto Rico, and her father, Gonzalo Sr., was from Mexico. Sylvia and her brothers were told that they had to go to the Mexican school. In an interview with Sylvia, she recalled that the Mexican school was really just a couple shacks. They had dirt for a playground, and it was surrounded by an electrified fence that kept the nearby cows from wandering away. When her parents found out, they were furious. They realized that their children were being discriminated against. They went to the principal, then they went to the school board. The school board actually allowed the Mendez family to enroll as an exception, but instead they decided to fight for the right of all children to have an equal education. They were joined by 4 other families from across Southern California County. The Guzmans were from Santa Ana, the Estradas were from Westminster, the Palominos were from Garden Grove, and finally, the Ramirezes lived in El Medina. Together, their lawsuit was called Mendez versus Westminster School District of Orange County, and they decided all together to fight for the rights of all children. They challenged segregation in schools 7 years before Brown versus Board of Education. A lot of people moved from Mexico to the United States during the Mexican Revolution in the 1910 and 1920s. However, a lot of people forget that actually that whole area was Mexico before the Mexican-American War. Many people of Mexican descent experienced intense racism and discrimination, both newcomers and established communities. Restaurants put up signs that said no dogs or Mexicans allowed. Some people were attacked in the streets, they experienced police brutality, and Mexican children had to go to separate schools. Sylvia was just 8 years old when she testified in court, and in doing so, she joined the lawsuit that paved the way to end segregation in schools. But the fight didn't end there. In 1954, the Supreme Court decided to end segregation in schools once and for all with Brown versus Board of Education, and Thurgood Marshall actually used Mendez versus Westminster as the precedent. Still, even with the Brown versus Board of Education decision, schools were slow to integrate. In 1957 in Arkansas, local officials prevented Black students from entering Central High School for 3 weeks. This group of students were known as the Little Rock Nine. Eventually, federal troops had to intervene. Even after all these years, Sylvia realized that a lot of people don't know her story. It's not often taught in schools. So when she retired as a nurse, she decided to travel around and tell people more about her story. She wants others, especially young Latinas and Latinos of today, to see how harmful prejudice, racism, and segregation can be. She's been on a 20-plus year mission. Sylvia is also keenly aware that the fight for equal education is not over. Schools still have inequality issues that we saw firsthand during the COVID-19 pandemic. Latino students graduate at lower rates than that of white students. There are many reasons why this happens, but one reason is limited access to quality education resources. When Sylvia visits classrooms, she says, "Never get distracted. You have to fight for what you want." And she's right. Our Latina history is American history.